Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Empower Hour with KB. So today I wanted to share with you all why gratitude. Why gratitude? Well, I'm hoping that by the end of this conversation today, you will be thinking, wow, you know what? This makes sense. This makes sense. Gratitude is something that I really do my best to stay focused on. Am I 100%? No. I say that about everything. I do my best. I have a lot of moving parts in my life. I mean, this weekend, it wasn't even a rest weekend. We did so many home improvements. I was exhausted by the end of Sunday night. I was like, wow, what a great weekend. Got my steps in though. And, I'm just so grateful. I had to take a moment to sit with myself and to just be really grateful for this busy weekend. The fact that my legs work, the fact that my arms work, the fact that I was able to get up and go to the gym and exercise and do my steps and then make healthy meals. And then I have this amazing husband who is a general contractor. He's been in the contracting field his whole life. He is extremely good at what he does. And he could do a lot of the home improvements and didn't have to hire out for that. All of these things are so incredibly important. In fact, I sent him a text today on the way to work. Well, we passed each other. I came home from the gym and he was literally getting in his car and we said, hello. We do a 6-second kiss rule for comings and goings. When we say hello, we do our very best to do a 6-second kiss rule, and we do the same when we leave. So we did our 6 seconds and then he was gone. That was it. And then he sent me a text, have a great day, because I think he realized we just passed each other. And I said, you too, honey. And then I said, thank you. I just want to say thank you so much for all that you do for our family, because that is it. There's something so beautiful about gratitude, and not only gratitude for other people, but just life in general. So I wanted to get on today for my first talk regarding Gratitude Week and talk to you guys about why gratitude. Gratitude is powerful because it literally changes your brain, your body, and your energy. And there is now scientific proof for this. There is literal scientific proof that has been documented about what gratitude can do for us. Holy moly. Now, I was practicing gratitude before I knew all of that, and I didn't know neurologically what was happening. I just knew that I felt different. Life had a different energy to it. Life had a more beautiful feel to it. Life had a purposeful feel to it. When you are in that space of gratitude, it feels different. Everything just feels different. Now, we can't always do that because sometimes we get down into the pooper. We're down there and it's rough. I understand that. And I have done that myself, where I've been in that space where my brain goes, remember gratitude, Kristen. And I think to myself, I don't want to be grateful, or there's nothing to be grateful right now because I'm so focused on the problem. And this is where we can make this shift. So I will make myself be grateful, even if I'm not feeling it yet, even if it's not in my heart. I will start a gratitude practice. And let me tell you something, it picks up momentum. Because if I just am doing something, I say, you know what, I'm really grateful I'm walking. That's a big deal for me, you guys, because I broke my femur really bad. It was a 4.5-hour surgery. I have a titanium rod in my left leg. I think I was around 35 years old. I need to write a note because I just remembered something I got to share with you guys. You're going to think it's funny. I thought it was funny. But anyway, first thing I start, if it's during the day, I'm like, I can walk. And then I'll just go, and I have food in the refrigerator and our lights are on, and it's 73 degrees in this house when it's 110 outside, et cetera, et cetera. And as I start that roll, the momentum happens and then my heart bursts open. Sometimes it's almost tear inspiring. Sometimes I just sit there and I'm like, what are you complaining about? My goodness, girlfriend. And then I'm off and running. But again, sometimes there's this little slow start in the beginning of it, everybody, where we're like, oh, but you don't get it. I have this, I have that. Yeah, but where are you focused on? What are you focusing on? Because what we focus on grows. Write that down. Put it up in your room. I print off things off my computer and stick things everywhere in my house. If something resonates, I'm like, yep, that's what I'm working on. I will print it out so that it's the font size that'll fill the entire page. and then I will put it somewhere in my house so that when I happen upon it, I will read it, because that helps me to refocus from our natural negative bias inclination that the brain has. That's a thing. And I'm like, okay, get out of that, get back into this. And then boom, I feel good again and all is well. So today I'm going to be talking about real quickly from the neuroscience perspective. When you focus on what you're grateful for, your brain will shift out of survival mode, which is fear, lack, comparison, and it will activate regions of the brain that are tied to emotional regulation, empathy, and reward processing. These things happen in the prefrontal cortex and the anterior cingulate cortex. This reduces stress hormones like cortisol and increases dopamine and serotonin, the feel-good chemicals that boost mood and resilience. Okay, this is happening from the brain level, y'all. This is neuroscience, that when you focus on what you're grateful for, your brain is going to shift out of survival mode, and it will activate the regions that are tied to emotional regulation, empathy, and reward processing. Who doesn't like emotional regulation? I sure do. I like to be really baseline in my life. Of course, I'm human and I'm female, and our hormones do things and whatnot. But I also I have noticed that, gosh, there was a time, menopause, when I was going through menopause, and everyone was like, oh, your moods are this and your moods are that and your moods are, and everybody was focusing on the moods. One day you're this, one day I'm like, oh, I didn't have that experience. I had other weird menopause symptoms, but I didn't have that experience. And I often look back on that and I'm like, what was that all about? And I think it's because I'm very mindful about my brain. I'm very careful about what little Miss Thing is thinking, because she can get a little crazy up in there sometimes. She can get on these little tangents. And so I'm very careful about that. We do know that our thoughts create our emotions. So I'm mindful about that. Now, I have not seen scientific proof about this. I haven't researched it. I haven't looked it up, but I do know that that's been my experience. So I love to be emotionally regulated because I show up better in my life. Gratitude also disrupts negative thought patterns. Like I just explained to you guys earlier, when I'm in some sort of funk and my brain says, remember gratitude, Kristen. The angel on my right shoulder says, remember gratitude. And so I start to get into a gratitude practice and I'll move out of that negative thought pattern. That feels good, you guys. I love to feel good. I love to feel baseline. I love to feel neutral. Now, the reason why I say neutral and baseline is because to me, that's the happy center right in the middle. That's a great place to be. If you think of a pendulum, the pendulum swings very high up on one side and then very high up on the other side. Well, right there across that bottom is like right where I like to be, because it's a very neutral space. Because if I'm in uber happy, that's penduluming up on the right side. And that means the pendulum's going to fall and go over to uber something else at some point. I'm weird about the word happy. I like peace. I like contentment. Yes, I get happy about things sometimes and it's joyful, but it's not something that's really super sustainable. It's just something that's like, oh my God, this happened, or I'm so happy to see you. Like when my brother visited from Denver and he walked into the restaurant and I'm gonna cry. I practically ran to him. I haven't seen him in a couple of years. And I hugged him right in the doorway of the restaurant, and for like 45 seconds, and I started crying. I was so happy to see him. He's like, oh, Chris, you're gonna make me cry. So we're both sitting in the restaurant doorway crying. That was uber happiness. But did that stay, the rest of the day and into the next? And then, no, I was just happy in that moment. But then it sort of baselined for me. Just I got back to happy and peace, and I'm not happy, peaceful and content, and just joy and presence. Having him sitting right next to me was funny because he went to sit down at the table and my husband goes, oh, no, she wants you over there. She said she wants you next to her so she can touch you. And that's literally what I said to him. I said, I'm going to have him sit here, because Doug and I were across each other. And I said, I'm going to have him sit here because I want to touch him. He's real. He's in my presence. This is my other brother that lives in Denver, not cool beans. So it'll disrupt our negative thought patterns. Whippy, 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 yay. because this is what I wanted you to hear. This is the why gratitude. You ready? Your brain can't focus on both appreciation and anxiety at the same time. Your brain can't focus on both appreciation and anxiety at the same time. I don't want to say anxiety, I'm going to say negative thought feelings, negative thoughts. It just can't do it. It's two different energies. So when we're in one energy of gratitude, we can't be in the energy of envy or resentment. I'm going to go into those in a minute. That's a beautiful thing. Okay, where was I? So when you practice gratitude, especially consistently, you will retrain your brain to notice what's working, what's supportive, and what's possible. When you practice gratitude consistently, you will retrain your brain to notice what's working, what's supportive, and what's possible. Let's just sit there for a moment. Let's just put the car in neutral and coast. Wow. You will retrain your brain to notice what's good, what's working in your life, how you're being supportive, where there's love, where there's abundance. And the operative words here are you can retrain your brain. Because a lot of times when people are in depression, there's a lot of narrative around depression in the negative way, and there's a lot of narrative around depression in the positive way. I'm going to focus on the positive way. What that means is that a lot of times people who are depressed and anxious are continuing the thought pattern of ruminating on what's not working, what they regret of the past, things that other people are having that they don't have. It's focusing on the negative. I had a girlfriend who was on some type of antidepressant, anti-anxiety, and she was on it and it really wasn't working. So she went on a different one. She went on a different one. She went as high as lithium and she was still depressed and anxious. And I remember saying to her this a long time ago before I even studied this work, I'm like, what are you focusing on, bro? What are you telling yourself every day? Because even though she was on those meds, her brain was still stuck in a certain pattern. And so it was overriding that. We're not friends anymore. I don't know what happened to her, where she went, or where she's at in her journey anymore. I hope she figured that out. But my point is that when we focus on gratitude, it changes us and everything happens up in our brain. That's where all the chemicals are released. Okay, so when we're speaking in terms of emotionally and spiritually, gratitude will shift our frequency. We all know by now, if you've listened to me for any sort of hot minutes, you know that I talk a lot about energy, shifting your energy to manifest the life and relationships of your dreams, because everything is energy. I didn't make that up. Quantum physics, I did not make that up. Everything is energy, and this goes all the way back to Einstein talking about this. So energy, what is energy? It has a frequency. So when we are focusing on negative, that is going to lower our frequency. When we are focusing on positive and what we have and abundance and things we're grateful for and who we're appreciative of, etc., that will raise our frequency. And once again, since I've played in this playground for 15 years or so, I know the difference. Boy, I can tell you, I know the difference. And anytime I get myself into a space like that, which is, I say get myself into a space because I'm allowing those thought patterns to continue and I'm adding to them and adding to them, and then I'm spiraling down. I know what it feels like to be in those lower vibrational spaces, but I also know what it feels like to lift myself out of those lower vibrational spaces. And gratitude is one of the fastest and quickest ways to do so. There is also evidence that gratitude mixed with intentional thought of what you want to have in your life, what you want to experience, the gratitude of having the thing before you have it will heal your body. This is a thing. It's a crazy thing, but it's out there and there is all kinds of evidence about it. So I want you to consider that gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. It expands your heart. It connects you to the present, and opens you up to receive more. You feel more empowered and less like a victim of your circumstances. I want you to think about that. It expands your heart. It connects you to the present, and it opens you up to receive more. Abraham Hicks scale, the emotional guidance scale, number one, do I have it? Oh yeah, it is over here. Let me see. I have it laminated because I use it in my coaching. The number one highest frequency we can be in is appreciation, gratitude, joy, knowledge, empowerment, freedom, and love. Appreciation and gratitude is one of the highest vibrational spaces that we can be in. And again, being somebody who has practiced this back and forth, and I don't want to say I practiced it intentionally. I didn't know what I was doing. I would say that, ooh, I don't like the way I'm feeling. Let me start being grateful. Some of you might know my story about my children and I basically being broken homeless. Well, I was broken homeless. They weren't broken homeless. They were little. Because the reckless behaviors and abandonment of my second husband. And we moved into my mom's house and my stepfather's house. And it was a big house, plenty of space for all of us. We all had our own rooms. I even built a salon in an enclosed garage area that had probably three rooms in there. And that's where my office space was and everything. And I remember, because I was so stuck on what I didn't have, the fact that I'm someone who's worked since I was 15. I had an 841 credit rating. I'd never lost a bill. I'd owned a brick and mortar business, all of these things. And here I was, broken homeless. And I remember just being so pissed off. Here I had this beautiful, abundant, loving house filled with air conditioning and food on an acre with people who would do anything for us. And I was pissing and moaning. And I remember the day as clear as can be when I said, Kristen Brown, do you see what you have? Makes me emotional. You have all of these things. Yes, I know. You were a 42-year-old woman, I think, at the time when all this happened, who was, making life happen, single momming it, taking care of everything yourself, kicking major booty in life. And then this happened. Yeah, I can see why you were a little PO'd about it. But look how you were held. Look how you were caught. If I didn't have them, probably would have been living in a shelter. Look at how you were caught. Look at the love. I know there's crumbs everywhere. Crumbs meaning bread. My stepfather was Sicilian, off the boat Sicilian, and loved his bread and tomatoes. And my mother loved her bread too. And they'd eat bread there's bread crumbs all over the counter, always, and all over the tablecloth. That's not something that I would have had going on in my house. I just remember being thankful for the breadcrumbs. Thankful for the breadcrumbs. And when I started to practice gratitude, pulling up to that house and looking at it, instead of ruminating on what was not and loving what is, everything shifted. It was like a moment in time that changed all my energy. Everything shifted in that moment. All right, we've got some takers in the queue. Super excited. First up, we have Laura McLean. Then we have VA. Laura, welcome up. Thanks for coming. Would love to hear from you.
Hi, thank you. Turn your mic on or off. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you perfect.
Oh,
And I love your
good.
profile picture.
Thank you. Yeah, but it's been a minute or two since that picture, but it works.
It's beautiful. I love it. So
Thank
what's on your
you.
mind or your heart today, Laura?
Well, I was on vacation last week and was thinking about my life and that I wanted to make changes because I was having such a great time and was
Yeah.
contrasting that with my life at home. And I was like, okay, this is what I want, and the rest is bullshit. So part of that was to get my body in line with that motivation, and so
Mm-hmm.
I decided to join Noom and see if I can make that work for me.
I love this, Laura. This is such great awareness. You're on vacation and you're having this awareness that you have this contrast in your life. This is so great over here, but that over there is BS. I got to figure
Yep.
this out. That's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a little trepidatious because I'll be 55, and I've been on the roller coaster since I was a teen.
Mm-hmm.
So I have some hesitancy, but I've decided today is my first day. Just do a little bit of every day and go forward.
I want you to know that you're in the right place. I've been a speaker here on Noom Vibe. I think we're just past our year. I think it was April, March of last year that Noom Vibe started. Heard a lot of stories from a lot of people, and I will tell you, you are going to love this community because everybody can relate to what you're saying. Many people on here has been on the journey for a long time, and something we talk about a lot on here is that just allowing yourself to be where you're at and having so much grace and forgiveness for yourself on the journey. So if you have a slip up day, it's okay. It's okay. Keep going.
Right. And I see that this is the gratitude. This is the first Vive chat I've actually joined. So,
Oh,
um,
nice.
yeah. And I was visiting my dad. And so that was the other contrast was what I didn't have as a kid compared to what I have now. So I
Oh,
am
wow.
actually really grateful for what I've built for myself. Um,
Nice.
yeah. So now I know that I can even make it more geared to what how I want to live my life, you know?
Laura, it sounds like you've done some really awesome inner work.
Yeah. Lots of
You've
that.
got quite a bit of awareness.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you are poised for this journey now. Because sometimes we try to do these journeys but there's other stuff that's sort of running the train behind the scenes. But it sounds like you've really positioned. I'm getting that feeling. I'm seeing you like clicking into place.
I felt that way that I'm on a transformatory, I'm gonna make up a word now.
I
A
love it.
period of yeah. A period of transformation. It's not clear, but it's a feeling.
I understand completely. You're feeling it like in your inner knowing.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't think it's supposed to be clear at first because we're not really sure what's happening or what we're supposed to be doing. But just having that awareness that brings new perceptions to us. We're open to new perceptions and to change because that can be scary for people. So
hmm
just you're sitting in the unknown right now, which is one of the hardest parts, I believe, one of the scariest parts for people, because I don't really know what's happening here. It's not super clear, but I'm so down for this. I'm so in.
Exactly. And the I think an important aspect to that is to stop beating myself up for the things for these expectations I have set that I think
Yeah.
that belongs in the bullshit.
Yes. Laura, you timed out if you want to finish that. If you're complete with what you said, then you can hang out. That's perfectly fine. Yeah, Laura's going to come up and finish that. She's brand new here, so I'm going to let her up a second time so she can finish her thought. But
Oh,
yes, that is, oh, the expectations, girl. Yes.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, sorry, I don't need to continue. But yeah, so gratitude. I think I'm here. I need to be grateful.
Laura, do you have a plan for your expectations? Have you sort of positioned yourself to be able to handle them if they come up?
My first is my mantra, my new mantra,
Oh,
which
nice.
is you're gonna laugh, and the rest is all bullshit. That's my mantra.
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
And then, yeah, to remind myself, and I'm like, oh my God, I didn't do these things. And then the next step is to cut back on what I think, quote unquote, has to be done. Only
Nice.
expect myself that smaller amount and focus my life around the things that are recharging and healthy and,
Mm.
you know, the things that make me feel like I love my life. And the rest
Hmm.
is all bullshit.
Yes. I love
Yep.
that. There's so much power in that because you're taking your brain out of all this other stuff that is has not been working. I'm putting words in your mouth. Please correct me if I'm wrong. And you've like moved your whole trajectory, that's a hard word, to what is working and what you want more of. Would that be accurate?
Exactly. Well done.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you're so poised. You're so poised. I love this. This is so good. So, Laura, I give people for the first time who come up on my stage 200 vibes. So be
Woo!
expecting 200 little vibies in your vibe box very shortly. I send an email after my talks to the powers that be that handle that. And then at some point, I don't know when they get to it, but at some point, it's usually between 24 and 48 hours, you will receive 200 vibes.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you.
Thanks for coming up, Laura. And I hope you stick and stay, like our friend Peter Carrington on here says. And please feel free to join the queue and come up on stage anytime.
Okay, will do. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Laura.
Bye.
All right, you guys, that's our new friend, Laura. Love that. First day here, and she pops up because Laura had something to share, something to express. And I know that when we speak these things out loud, because sometimes we have people in our life that we can do this with, and sometimes we don't. But when we speak these things out loud to our beloved community, it sticks, it deepens, it makes it more real. It's like, yeah, I am on track. This is good. And of course, people sometimes come up with times when it's not so good. And we love that too, because we help each other. We're arm in arm, we're supporting each other and helping each other to keep going. You know, I just had this visual in my head, like you guys are hiking and then it's a little bit steep. And then one person who's up just a little bit ahead with their booty sticking out in the air, reaching down to the other person and going, come on, just, you know, that last little step. Sometimes we do that for each other and sometimes we leapfrog and then we're the ones that are reaching back and supporting somebody. So thanks for coming, Laura. So glad to have you. All righty. Next up is Miss VA. Thank you for coming. So glad to have you. Why gratitude?
Oh, gratitude for me. First, I want to say welcome to Laura.
Yeah.
You are going to have, so much here on this platform, so many different directions, and just the feedback from other people as well as their shares. Right now, I'm in the process of a move, and the way it all came about was pretty traumatic. I don't need to go backwards on that, but changing perspective and being thankful and grateful, just work alone, examples of, when it starts getting a little crazy, you start repeating it and then talking amongst your coworkers, and before you know it, all these bad things are happening. But there are times I sit out in the parking lot and I say, I'm grateful for a paycheck. I'm grateful to be walking in to this job. I'm grateful that I had a vehicle that I just purchased in April, and it's now with this move, that was one of the things they asked me, what vehicle you're driving, because it's a treacherous driveway in the winter. And as it's the same numeric as my parents. It was the same driveway, but not as steep of inclines. Just the synchronicity of everything that's happening. This morning, one of our moves, we'd already decided, and I'm a planner, so I was scatterbrained because I didn't take the time to write it down, especially when you're just finding out, 3 weeks ago that you got to be out.
Yeah. Yes.
So there was a lot more to it. I was planning to buy it, and then, the landlord actually passed away. So in which case they probably would take my offer, but I had already moved on. God already showed me where I needed to be.
Mm-hmm.
I planned out how I was going to go down each floor, because I have 3 floors. Now, mind you, he also was setting up each of the steps to get to where I am today. When I was moving from a house to a townhouse, started renting 10 years ago, and then to the other side, it's been small, progressively getting rid of stuff. So one of the talks that were on here, it was mentioned, mourn it, grieve it, shed it. And that's what I've been saying through this whole move. Totally putting it in God's hands. Like this morning, my prayer was, God, please get me through this session today of moving and whatnot. Show me where I need to be. So things were starting to get stalled. I knew I had to get the carpet dropped off, one of the area rugs. I already had 2 new ones delivered, which I rolled out with my sister yesterday. So it looks beautiful already.
Nice.
So the excitement. So again, I am a very anxious person, and it was like really starting to get to me. I'm like, oh, it's getting me. And my sister's like, I'm sorry, I can't help you as much because her knee's bothering her. I says, no, it's okay. I says, you just keeping me focused and giving me time checks is helping me get through the anxiety. But the excitement of looking at those carpets, it's perception. As you can hear, I have a smile. I am glowing. I'm moving. This place is disaster all around me. Nothing's packed. Nothing's in boxes. But it's okay because I'm moving to a smaller place, 1 bedroom, a bathroom, a garage bay less. But My shelves, my industrial shelves, I measured it today, perfect fit. They're allowing
Nice.
me to install a washer and dryer. My plumber is coming tomorrow. This synchronicity, I prayed to God, they were praying to God. It's a perfect fit. I can't even begin. I'm glowing and I'm
I
moving.
It does sound like a perfect fit. VA, I don't know where do you live?
I'm in Connecticut.
Oh,
I'm just
Connecticut.
outside, like I'm an hour outside of New York City.
Okay. Because I was thinking about the snow removal going up your driveway.
Oh, yeah. I
Yeah,
got a Bronco. I just bought it in April.
I love those.
Synchronicity.
Oh, I love those Broncos.
Oh, so I have to tell you real quick, because I wanted to add to Laura, my mantras, just after my parents had passed, it was keep moving, don't give up. I wore that on my wrist identification because being a runner, I wouldn't carry ID with me, but it would have all my information, my town, who to contact, yada, yada. But that was the mantra. My tattoo that I just got in April is if not now, then when? So this is
Mm-hmm.
what's been pulling me through part of this move and keeping me going. Because last year I was in a dark place and I was almost ready to give up on everybody and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But this 349 days on Noom vibe, and it's helped pull me through. And you work it, you do it, be consistent, and you can have it because it's happening right now for me. I'm
Mm.
continuing to share, so I'll check back. Love you
Oh
guys.
my
God bless.
goodness. Love you, VA. You guys heard it. Oh my goodness. So happy. Keep moving. Don't give up. Wow, that was amazing. I'm so glad all that's working out for you, VA. I had that feeling. I had that vision for you. I held it. Even better than we could have thought, right? So good. All right, let's see who's up next. We have Miss Robin. And then we have Amani, and then the queue is open. If anybody would like to join, now is the time to do so. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this. Hey, Robin, welcome.
Hey, gratitude week. I love it.
Yeah.
Bless you, VA. God bless her. It's a very similar story, so I'm gonna hang in there. Yeah, I just got a notice from my landlady that I have to move out in 60 days. So added
Mm-hmm.
insult to injury, that added on there, but I'm looking at it like it's a blessing in disguise. So time to
Mm-hmm.
or time to consolidate, try to figure it out. The cost isn't going to be any better. It's going to be the same. Initially, she was raising the rent and doing all this, and then I think she just decided not to put any more money in it. So yeah, so that kind of leaves us up in the air. I will do it. I'm going to do it.
Boy, this is your tsunami year, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. I've got I got I was driving down the road. Now Wendy Tell had a good thing to look at it too, and so did Cecilia. Driving down the road and bam, something hit my windshield. All of a sudden this crack went all the way across the windshield. This was Saturday. So
I
the good
heard
thing
that when you
was,
were on CC's.
yeah,
I
I
heard that.
wasn't I wasn't hurt. That's a good thing. But
Yeah.
then I kept thinking, so I've got a Subaru Outback that has a eyesight technology and it's going to get recalibrated and replacing the windshield and all that. And all I said is, Cecilia, you're not dead. No. Did you die? No. And I didn't die, Cece. So I haven't slept for 2 nights, but I got up and I called the Subaru dealership. They gave me the name of a place, called the place. They got me on the phone with my insurance company, which happens to be there. My insurance company happens to want this one in place. So it's not going to cost me anything in the state of Florida. They waived the deductible, which would have been 1,000. So I'm so grateful for that. So I
Nice.
was so happy. So happy.
Yes.
I just didn't have another 1,000+ dollars. Look at everybody. Yay. I just didn't have enough
Yes. Look at
to
that. Look
think
at your
about that.
crew.
I was like, yay. So I'm very, very, very grateful for that. So I was literally sitting around and see Cecilia's gonna kick my butt, even though I'm gonna say this. I was waiting around for that. You know how things happen in threes kind of thing. I was like, what's gonna
Mm-hmm.
be the third one? And I'm not gonna think like that. I'm gonna think what's gonna be the
Mm-hmm.
third good thing that happens. So
Nice. Right. I
so
like that you brought that up because I had that thing too, because somewhere along the line in my life, someone said bad things happen in threes. So every
yeah.
time I pick that up and then something happens and then number two happens and then I'm sitting waiting for three and I've done the same thing. I'm like, nah, that's not relevant in
Yeah.
my life. I won't accept that energy.
Yeah, it has to be. it has to be what you're believing it to be. And so if you
Yeah.
believe it's going to be that, it's probably going to be that. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
just going to be grateful that I have good friends to remind me and say, don't think like that craziness. Don't do
Mm-hmm.
it.
You're
And
always willing to change your mind too, Robin.
yeah, I'm
That's what I
willing
love.
to hear things out. It's like it's okay to boo-hoo for a minute, and I
Yeah.
do. I'll go,
Yeah.
but then I'm like, you know what? Move the heck on, because what are you gonna do? What's my
Mm-hmm.
there? What are you gonna do? Curl up in a ball and cease to exist? No.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah,
No.
that's why we're moving on up, moving on through. Keep on
Yes.
keeping on.
That's right. That's right. I love that so much. When you're in your insomnia, have you considered telling your brain, I don't need to think about any of this now. It's just going to be here tomorrow.
I haven't, but
Yeah.
maybe I should.
That was literally what I did during my tsunami because I was the same thing, anxious mess. I lost a
Mhm.
bunch of weight, like couldn't eat. Everything tasted like cardboard. And I was like, I cannot function if I don't sleep. So I heard somewhere to do that. So I started talking to my brain at night. I said, yeah, I hear all you problems and you're going to be here when I wake up.
It's funny that you say that though, because my subconscious brain
Hmm.
doesn't feel the same way. So I have dreams of things that are going on in my life that are, anything that could go wrong is going wrong, that kind of thing. You
Hmm.
find yourself naked in the middle of store, or, those kinds of vulnerability things, that
Hmm.
your fears in your dreams. So
Yeah, they're
yep.
trying to come to light. Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, we're going to
They
always be sending you, thank you, Robin, sending you all the awesome vibes that this works out completely in your favor. Everyone, if you just literally hold the vision right now that Robin finds the most perfect place that is even better than where she is now. This move is so purposeful and just see her thriving. That's all we're going to do is we're going to hold the vision of what we want for Robin. Okay, awesome. Thanks for coming up, sis. All right, we have next up is Miss Amani. Thank you, Amani, for joining me.
Of course. Happy Monday. Hope you had a wonderful weekend.
I did.
Oh, yeah, gratitude is my jam. It didn't used to be. I used to be just like Robin said, too. Things happen in threes. Do, 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 do. And it's like, really?
Mm-hmm.
But I've noticed that when I always have gratitude for everything, big or small, in my life, my day is just amazing. Because at the end of the day, if we really take stock of it, we're going to have more wins over losses. And that's what my first pastor would say. He says, count your wins over your losses at the end of the day. You're
Oh,
going
yeah.
to have more wins than you do losses. And that's so true because it could be so simple as my eyes opened up this morning. I'm breathing. I'm these things. In that one or two things that happen could be so insignificant after that point when you just start thinking about everything you're grateful for. And right now, I'm really grateful for. I just found out last week I had to have major back surgery, so I'm going to be out for 2
Mm,
weeks. And I'm like, oh, this is great. I can't wait to hear what my boss is going to say. But then I was like, wait a minute, nope, switch it, perspective, switch it,
mm,
just say something different. So I was like, okay, well, what if it's better? You don't know what they're going to say until you talk to them. So I had my meeting with my boss today and I told her what was going on. She's like, Amani, we'll figure it out. You got to take care of yourself. It's going to
mm-hmm.
be okay. Go ahead
Good
and
for
start
her.
work. We'll work with you. She's like, it's more often than not, we can meet the, restrictions and everything like that. And I'm just like, God, last year I would not have felt the same way with the same person, but they've grown, I've grown.
Wow.
And I get to put myself first because my relationship with myself is my number one priority. I can't
Mm,
tell people to take care of themselves, and I'm not. I can't tell other people to invest in themselves, and I'm not. I can't tell other people to love yourself, and I'm not. So I
mm-hmm.
intentionally have intention every single day. I start my day on the right foot. So then the rest of the day is more easy, breezy, lemon peasy, no matter what happens. It's just smooth sailing. Versus if I wake up off the wrong side of the bed, it seems like every little thing annoys me. So
Mm-hmm.
I tell the difference of just keeping Gratitude at the forefront. Gratitude is an everyday service to yourself to remind you of all things that are going right in your life. Even when you might be in the valley and you're going through turmoil and you have situations and these things just keep piling up, remember you're going to get back to the mountain again. Because if you survived everything else you've gone through so far, what makes you think you're not going to survive this one? It reminds us of how far we've come. And God is never going to send you where He's not already prepared you. So, Robin, I already know you have a wonderful place. You just got to put your eyes on it. But God has already created the place for you. And it's going to be beyond your expectations. And that's how I look at things. Everything is going to be beyond my expectations. I look forward to my socks being blown off every day because it's just every opportunity I give myself, every day I take a chance on me. My life is just so much better every single day. And I get to rest in that. And I hope that I get to be the example for someone else to feel that they can have gratitude and joy and love every single day. And I just like to rest in that. And I'm just sitting here serene, just on chill on a busy Monday, talking to you, having my couple cohort people in here. Hey, y'all. We've all grown. We've all became 1% better every single day. And I am thankful for those opportunities. I can just sigh here all day and look at kitty videos because it's just one of those days where it's just like, wait a minute. Things happened way beyond what I thought they were. But remember, you're all waiting to thrive.
Thanks, Amani. So good. I want to just expand on something she said, and that is investing in yourself. She said, I couldn't be telling people to invest in themselves and then be the person who is not investing in myself. So, bringing this back to our topic of gratitude, do you realize that practicing gratitude is investing in yourself? Practicing gratitude is an investment into yourself. It is taking the time and the intention to focus on what is working, what you're appreciative in your life. And as I mentioned in the top of this talk, it shifts your brain. You move out of survival mode, fear, lack, comparison, and it will reduce your stress hormones like cortisol and will increase dopamine and serotonin. Those are the feel-good chemicals. So you're actually investing in yourself when you choose to practice gratitude. I like to have a gratitude practice every night before I fall asleep. I like to go down what I'm grateful for. It's oftentimes starts with, I love my bed. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for my bed. And I'll expand on that. I feel cozy. My shoulders don't hurt when I wake up in the morning. We spent a lot of money on our bed because my sleep is extremely important to me. For various reasons, I'd wake up and my shoulder would be numb, like about 4 inches on my shoulder because of the, anyway, I won't get off on that. You know what's something that I wanted to share with you all too that I'm just cracking up about is I've been telling you guys for a whole year that I'm 58 years old. Haven't I? Y'all know that, right? The other day I was sitting with my son and he said, "No, Mom, you're not 58. You're turning 58 in October." I'm like, "Nah, come on." He goes, "Mom, do the math." I said, "You mean I've been 57 all year?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "You just gave me a whole year. I get to redo 58. Not that it needs a redo, but I get to have a whole nother year because I thought I was 58 all year." So I told my husband, I said, "Dude, we're not 58. We're 57. I don't know how that happened. I really don't. But they say you lose track of your age as you get older. Well, I guess it's doggone true because it happened to me. So I am grateful. So when I have a birthday and everybody asks me next year how old you are, and I say 58, don't be saying, "Oh, Kristen's lying. She was 58 last year." Oh, no, I messed that up. So funny. All right, I got a message from Chelsea. She says, "I think gratitude for me is the way to live your own life to the fullest without having kind of intentions about our own selves of feeling too insecure about ourselves." I love that, Chelsea. I love that. Gratitude for her is is the way to live your own life to the fullest. Oh, I agree with that. And everybody's idea of what to be grateful for is different. It doesn't matter if you're grateful for the ground you're sitting on. Maybe you'd been out at sea for quite some time and you're so grateful to be on dry land. That might be what you're grateful for, where somebody else is grateful for air they can breathe because they used to work in a coal mine. It doesn't matter. Just be where you're at. And it's loving up your life. It's loving up your life. It's loving up your energy the same way that you would somebody else, how you love somebody up. Love up yourself that way. Look at what you have. We did some remodeling or redecorating recently. I'm in this weird thing, you guys. It's not weird. I don't mean weird as in bad, where I don't want any remnants in this home of my past homes. Because when we moved out of the house during my tsunami, it's a 3,500 square foot house, very big, everything, literally junk drawers were dumped into packing paper, taped up and packed. Every single decoration. We took clothes and computers, and I think my washer and dryer, some things that weren't put into storage, but everything else went into storage. And I didn't see that stuff for years. Then we moved into a rental for a year. Some of that stuff come out. Then we moved into this house for a year, and I had all this stuff from my old house. Put it all up. It's been that way for quite some time. I don't really care. And then all of a sudden, something clicked. And I said, I don't want any of this. I don't want, this is old energy. This is old. And down to the frames I have on the credenza in my foyer. I just went to At Home the other day, changed out all those frames. I'm like, okay, I need 3 5x7s, 1 8x10, this and that. I changed them all out and got rid of them. Why? Because I don't want that energy anymore. I'm so grateful for where I am now. And I have healed and changed and grown so much. I don't want any of that in my past. I don't want my past with me in my present. So to me, I'm not saying you guys have to do this. It felt good to me. And I was so grateful. I even changed out the pillows on my sofa. The one downstairs that had the ones that came with it. Pulled them out. I looked at my husband. I said, these are all going to the donation. He's like, okay. He's like, honey, you do you, whatever you need to do. I'm like, I just don't want this anymore. And it's beautiful stuff. It was just linked to the old. But my point is that I was in so much gratitude all weekend. We hung curtains. We steamed curtains. The list goes on about things that we did. And I just was in so much gratitude. I redid a wall in my front room and put these beautiful shelves up. And they're it's a big long wall, the length of the wall. And then I decorated them with things. I stand in there and I stare at it. It's new energy. And I'm so great. Like I keep wanting to take a picture and send it to the family group chat who've all seen it. But that's because I am appreciating the new energy. It's like I want to share it with somebody, but no one really gets it because it's the energy that I wanted. Does that make sense, you guys? So I have to blow this up for me. I have to invest in my own self. And that's why I wanted to bring up that point. All right, we have Wondering Fool coming up next. Cicely, where have you been?
Hello. I'm the late night insomniac that just chose.
I know.
I was like, okay, I can't sleep. Well, I start working at night.
Well, it was rhetorical because I know you sleep during the day because you work the night shift. But glad to have you
Okay,
here, sis.
I am awake today. I'm
Woo
here.
woo.
All right. I'm going to have a really vulnerable moment with you.
Okay.
There are some times when I don't get enough sleep that I have to use excuses to not jump off the deep end.
Makes
So
sense.
today, I am grateful for my excuses. I am grateful for the fact that I am partially hollowed out by all manner of things. And I used to look at hollowness as a horrifying thing. Like if you are hollow, there is nothing left to you. You're empty. There's no substance. And I was like, wait a minute. Isn't that space for substance to come in? Isn't that
That's
space
right.
for the something great to be there? And the container itself doesn't really matter because I have a joke about the cornerstone of the Hollowed Knights. I am a movie lore slash video game lore kind of person. And the hollowed nights are kind of like humans that passed on in the wrong way, or they passed on too quickly, and they walk around somewhat hollow, but still on their same path in humanity. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what's so wrong about being a hollowed knight? If all I
Mm.
can remember is show up, be kind, be a space for other people, is that a bad thing? Like, what? It doesn't matter that I don't know what I'm actually doing or what I'm supposed to be here for. Doesn't matter. Just do the main objective, and everything else will fill itself in eventually. I'm about almost 10,000 words into this book I'm writing. And I'm like, okay, I have no clue
Wow.
what this is going to be. I have no clue what the end point is, but I can at least finish it. I have been hating the process the entire time because I'm a complainer, but my excuse is you can complain, you can cuss, you can fall out and cry, but you can't quit. Like, I can't quit, but am I going to talk trash the entire time? Yes, because that's the pressure release on the valve. Like, if I don't release that pressure, I start twitching. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you got to be honest with yourself. What don't you like right now? I may not like it, but I keep going.
Mm-hmm.
I may hate every step. Every step may feel like someone's trying to pull a tooth out. And I'm going to cuss, but I keep going. And in that moment, I'm grateful for all the low points because, like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm still here. I still exist.
That's right.
Whether I know my main mission objective or not doesn't really matter. But if I continue to show up, something's gonna click. Something's gonna make sense. And it's like, oh, it's not so bad being a hollow knight. You get to build up a lot of strange stories in the world.
I'm really proud of you for writing a book. I know how linguistic you are. I don't know if that's the right word. I know how creative you are. And I love that you don't know where it's going yet. I think that's pretty cool. It also made me, since you love video game lore and the other lore that you mentioned, I don't remember what that was. It made me
No.
wonder if you play D&D. Have you ever been a dungeon master of D&D? Yeah,
Yes.
that's because I got family members. Okay, my son-in-law is he's like you, creative in the writing and etc. And my daughter started playing D&D. My son plays occasionally, but it's like, wow, what a great outlet for someone's brain that thinks like that.
It's quite fun. My favorite
Hmm.
D&D character I created had a giant hot comb as a weapon. And
Nice.
if I rolled a high enough, she would fry you, dye you, and lay you to the side.
Stop. Do you want to come
Yes,
back up, Cicely? If you can, if you want to. I feel like you had a little bit more to add to that, and that would be just fine before I continue on. I would love to hear what she has to say. And then we have next up is Terry. Terry, if you can hang, I know you're probably in your evening commute home or just getting home. Okay, yeah.
this also brings about something that I noticed about the environments that I was in. Because when we look at flowers, if they don't grow properly, we don't say, you are a bad flower. Why aren't you growing? Or we look at the water, we look at the people. When I first started playing D&D, I had the Rick and Morty D&D game. And I'm also an extreme Rick and Morty fan because the world they build is so complex. Like, I'm a world builder. I was playing with people that didn't really care about it. So I was like, well, maybe this is a bad thing. I started to meet people that were hell on wheels about their campaigns. And I would just ask them about their campaigns, like they're regular customers. And they'll come in and be like, oh, we were on a pirate ship this week. And I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. This is what it looks like to find your people instead of just
Yes.
being in spaces that kind of tolerate you. Because I've always felt like I was being tolerated in spaces.
Me
And then I
too.
decided,
I have
girl,
to jump
yeah.
in there because I've not had somebody who has said that. Because I was thinking that the other day, all the friendships that I had when I was younger, because people put a lot of emphasis on, I'm still friends with my second grade friend. I'm still friends with this. And I thought to myself, they were fine, but it was like I didn't choose them. We didn't blend on some really deep level. It was kind of like by proximity that we became friends.
Yes. And
Yeah.
that's part of the most isolating feeling I've had throughout life, because it's almost as if I was used like Google. And the reason I really love AI processors is because like they're large language models. And being the fact that I was the kid that read the encyclopedia when I got bored, I feel like I'm a walking large language model. And
Can you
it's
pause right there and tell me what a large language model actually means? Because I've heard that before, but I don't know what that means. And then you can continue. Just, I want to pause for a second. What
okay,
does
I'm gonna
large
break it
language
down.
model mean?
It's like the world's biggest dictionary with the ability to put words into sentences and answer questions.
Okay, gotcha.
So it's like a
And
culmination of the
you feel like an LLM too.
yes. And in proximity, I was used and I derived my value from the usefulness that I had, because I was looking at the things that I
Mm-hmm.
was grateful for in childhood. And one of the things that I was most grateful for was the idea that my mom gave me. Girl, I don't know. Look it up. That is the thing that I am the
Mm-hmm.
most grateful for, because it opened up like my Pandora's box. It became a curse of proximity, but a lifelong love. Like I fell in love with the internet because I had everything at my hand's grip. I could learn anything I wanted
Mm-hmm.
to. And I've always been in love with the internet, which is by proximity something that people really love to use me for. And I am grateful to be of service in that way. But it also isolates me because I feel like I don't connect as well. And I sit in
Mm-hmm.
these moments where I'm like, I'm grateful for my large language model of a brain. But I
Yeah.
also realize that I isolate because of it. And in that isolation, I've kind of just had to look at things like, okay, be grateful for the fact that you learned that you were a fishing lure, you were a one trick pony. But also know that being hollowed out in that way gives you space for other things to come through. And
Mm-hmm.
somebody's coming for you. Because I've always been told that nobody's coming to save you. I don't think anybody's coming to save me, but I'm definitely starting to feel the people coming to walk with me.
The mighty companions?
Yes, because the
Yes.
hollow, like being a cornerstone of a hollowed night, is being an anchor point for those that surround us. I feel like a hollowed night, but I'm starting to see people rise from the dead, so to speak. Like you can see with me being myself, they're starting to wake up. And it's like, hey, I'm here. You want to walk with me? Okay, let's go.
Thank you, Wandering Fool. Thank you so much for coming up and sharing that with us. All that made so much sense. And I'd love to hear you unpack your experience. And I will say real quick before Terry pops up, I want to say that Amani said the same thing. She said, oh yes, tolerated and misunderstood. And that's not a great place to be. It's such a beautiful place to be when we're with people that actually understand us or can vibe on that same level. Tal, welcome up.
Thank you, KB. Yeah, I'll tell you what I'm grateful for: to be given the strength by the universe to not only get through every day, but enjoy it. Because
Yeah.
I feel so much compassion for people, who are in a dark place and,
Me
facing
too.
challenges, especially if you've got issues, with I don't know, you know the sort of thing I mean. That some people, it seems like they get a raw deal, and it's
Yeah.
easy to spiral with that, isn't it? Yeah, I'm grateful to be given the opportunity to enjoy life, experience it. And yeah, I have my challenges as well. And you have to work at it, believe me, because I'm always one trigger away from being out of alignment, trust me on that. So, yeah. And the other thing I'm grateful for is curiosity and wonder. Now, wonder gets a bad rap as compared to like gratitude and things like that. Yeah,
Really?
yeah, I think so. I think you do hear a lot about gratitude and mindfulness and things, but wonder sometimes it's on
Mm,
the back burner. I think one
I
day
love
people,
wonder.
yeah, well, it is the key to creation. You know,
Hmm.
it's in my opinion. Other opinions are available, folks. When you do get through certain, adventures in life, it does give you, it does make you the person that you are meant to be. And although it might not see it at the time, so I'm grateful for having all those lessons and experiences, and I'm grateful for being shown beauty, wonder, having joy and happiness.
Absolutely. To me, it makes life worth living because
Yeah,
we can, like I said earlier in this conversation, I'm not sure if you were off work yet, but what we focus on grows. And so if we're focusing always in the negative, the what's stagnant, what's lacking, we're just going to feel awful. But when we can focus other places and literally rewire our brain to see in terms of abundance and appreciation, it makes me glad to be here.
that's
Because
right.
I've been
Yeah.
in spaces where I wasn't glad to be here.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Oh, it's a weird paradox, life, isn't it? It's a
Mhm.
divine comedy. um,
Yes.
Find your frequency. I always say that. Be grateful for who you are, and do not envy others. Be
Hmm.
happy with who you are. If you can't be happy in your own company, you might find it hard to be happy in somebody else's company. Another.
Oh, for sure.
So you're never alone. We are all loved unconditionally. Sometimes we might feel we're alone, but you never really are. Oh, we got a bit of thunder and lightning in UK at the moment, AB.
Really?
Yeah,
I love that.
the weather's been breaking recently, so it's going to be more settled from tomorrow, I think. But the heat wave has sort of it's come to an end, but it's still in like 23, 24°C, which
Okay.
I think is about late 70s
Oh,
Fahrenheit.
that's actually nice.
Yeah, it's far better than what it was when it was 31 degrees, 32, or about.
31, 32. I'm going to have to look that up because, here in Arizona, we can get up to 115, which which is pretty gnarly. Oh my gosh. Thank you, Tez, for coming up. I super appreciate that. We have come near the end, and I'm going to do the wrap up conclusion now. So I'm sorry for those that are still in the queue. I will not be able to take you up because I need to wrap up for today. But boy, you guys brought it as usual. Thank you so much for everyone who joined. In short, to wrap this all up, gratitude just doesn't make us feel good. It's actually a rewiring tool. It is a healing balm, and it is an energy amplifier for the life that you truly want. So when I broke free from the negative and what was not working and hating where I was at, and I quite literally shut that book and opened a new one of gratitude, everything changed. Everything changed. My whole life upgraded. It was like someone took off a terrible, fuzzy, foggy black filter that was on my life. It's like someone peeled away the filter and I saw everything through a completely different lens. And I loved that space because I also realized that it was my choice. It was my choice whether I wanted to be over here and focusing there, or do I want to be over here and focusing on here. So every day I do my best to, and I'm saying I do my best, I do it if I think about it. And sometimes I try to be very intentional about it. But I will say there's this natural way about me, like, oh, I'm so grateful for this salad today. It's so good. I'm so grateful for these perfectly boiled, hard-boiled eggs. I'm so grateful that my cat's food is agreeing with her. Like these type of things, if I see something working, I automatically am grateful for it. But I also try to be intentional about things like I'm so grateful for that amazing conversation I had with my son 2 weeks ago or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Just really living a life of appreciation for what you have shifts your energetic vibration. One of the most important things that I want you to understand, I have not spoken of this yet, so I'm going to share this with you, is that when you are truly in a state of genuine gratitude, there's several other emotions that become impossible to experience at the same time. And this is because gratitude will shift your attention toward appreciation, presence, and abundance. So here's some emotions that cannot be present while you are in gratitude. And guess who mentioned it? Terry. He said envy. Why not? Because gratitude focuses on what we have, while envy focuses on what we lack compared to others. Envy cannot exist when we're grateful. Resentment can exist when we are grateful because gratitude softens blame and fuels forgiveness. Think about that. Gratitude softens blame and fuels forgiveness because resentment feeds off the past, but gratitude is rooted in the present moment. Isn't that wild? Like, these are facts, dudes. Okay, the next thing, entitlement cannot live with gratitude present because gratitude recognizes that blessings are not owed while entitlement demands them. We are so grateful for our blessings because we don't feel like we're owed them because we're entitled. We're like, wow, thank you for bringing me that piece of bread. The other day, my husband's been getting this amazing sourdough bread at Whole Foods, and they even have a bread slicer there. So you drop it in, it slices the bread. Pretty cool. It's delicious and amazing. And I'm gluten-free, but I can eat sourdough. And the other day I walked in, a husband walks in the house, and I said, and there on the ground was the bag of the sourdough with a piece just chilling on the ground. And I looked, I'm like, somebody got into our bread. It's one of the cats. But I didn't get mad. I was so grateful that we had the sourdough that was sitting on the counter for the cats to get into. What a mindset shift is that? Not like, guys, darn cats eating sourdough. I was like, well, you know what? At least we have these healthy cats that can jump up on counters. At least we have the sourdough for them to get into in the first place. Normally we keep that kind of bread in the refrigerator, but it was left out. So another thing that appreciation will not allow to enter is fear. And that is especially irrational or anticipatory fear because gratitude grounds you in the present and cultivates trust. Fear projects into the future or dwells in what we don't know is going to happen yet, in the unknown, in the quote unquote scary unknown, the unknown that many of us fear. So when you're in gratitude, you're in the present moment. You're in right now. You're grateful right now. You're not in that fear place. It also helps you to not be in anxiety because, like fear, anxiety is future oriented and gratitude centers you again in the present moment. We can't be in bitterness at the same time that we are in gratitude because bitterness fixates on what went wrong, where gratitude finds meaning in even the hard parts of life. Have you ever heard someone say, I'm so grateful for that disease that I got because I learned XYZ? I'm so grateful for that abandonment or that divorce or that person cheating. I'm grateful to my tsunami second ex-husband. I'm grateful. Now, of course, I was going through it. It was tough. You guys hear about my story. I'm very, very open and honest about it. But now I look back, I'm like, thank you. Thank you for leaving. Thank you. Thank you for staying gone for 7 years out of my daughter's life. That would have been hell. He was not in a place to be doing that. And she was a wreck. So no, you know what I'm saying? Like, thank you. All the things that we think sometimes are not working for us are actually little secrets in disguise working for us in a way, but we have to broaden our mind. And when we can learn to be grateful about these things that appear they're so bad, like VA was saying, they were raising the rent on the current place she was in, and she wanted to buy it, and they said no. And so she's like, well, shoot, now I got to find a new place to live, right? Initially, that looks very scary, but what if there's a little special blessing or a secret surprise involved in that? Well, I have found in life there typically is. It can also keep us out of self-pity because gratitude will acknowledge the struggle, but emphasize resilience and support, not victimhood. A lot of times people think like there's these lightning bolts and fanfare and marching bands and Cirque du Soleil people when we decide to make a life shift. It is quite literally a moment in time. It's a boop. It's that fast. I'm not doing this anymore. And I made a different choice. Please keep in mind that you can change the trajectory in your life in 1 second, and that's just from making a shift. And it can be a shift from fear to gratitude. It can be a shift from lack to abundance. Just one little shift can do the most. It can give you the most upgrade for on your energy. Also, we can't stay in greed or regret. Both of those things as well. It eradicates those, because for greed, gratitude says I have enough. Greed says I need more. And regret says, while it's possible to reflect on the past with gratitude, regret keeps you trapped. So regret will keep you trapped in the past, where gratitude reframes the past in a more compassionate light. But what can coexist with gratitude is, you ready? Joy, compassion, contentment, peace, love, and hope. In fact, I feel like they commingle, and I think they can expand each other. When you're in appreciation, you're going to have more hope. But when you have hope, you're going to appreciate more. When you're appreciative, you're more peaceful. But when you're peaceful, you're more appreciative. I think they work cohesively together, so we can get to a place where we're in a very high vibrational, emotional state by practicing gratitude. Beautiful conversation today. I appreciate you so much. We had Laura, who came up for her very first time. She's going to be receiving 200 vibes. That goes true for anybody else here new on the app. Your first time on my stage, you get a welcome basket of 200 vibes. Then we had VA and Robin, Amani, Wandering Fool, and Terry. Thanks for listening, everybody, and we'll see you tomorrow. Much love.